Now we're going to find the equation of the tangent line to y is equal to sine x over cos 2x at x is equal to pi over 6. So we've done ones like this before. We just didn't have like pi over 6 or the angles involved. So what we're going to do now is, so what we're really after is we want to figure out the derivative of this thing, because then once we figure out the derivative of that thing, remember the derivative is just the slope. And that's going to be perfect. We need to find the slope if we're going to know about the tangent line. So step number one, we're going to take the derivative of this. We're going to plug in this into our derivative, and that's going to tell us the slope at that point. That's what we're after.
If it's like that, though, isn't it going to be like 0?
So what we're going to do, okay, so y prime, we're going to use the quotient rule for this one. So it's going to be f prime g minus f g prime over g squared.
Good answer.
Okay, so f prime, or f in this case, let's say, f is going to be equal to sine x, f prime is cos x, g is cos 2x, and g prime is going to be equal to negative sine x, or sine 2x, times what?
Times 2.
2, yeah. So that's equal to negative 2 sine 2x. Okay, so plugging this in, f prime is going to be cos.
X.
Oh, that should be x. Cos x. G was cos 2x. And minus f was sine x. F prime is cos x. All over cos squared 2x.
You did something wrong there.
What, do I?
Yeah, you didn't put in the negative 2 sign.
I'm just happy.
Oh, made a mistake. That should have been negative 2 sine 2x. All over cos squared 2x. Okay, probably the easiest way to do this now is
Try.
I think it'll make it easier if we just change our signs, right? Those two negatives make it positive. I don't want to write it all over again. So we just change that. Now we know what all these things are. So if we put in what is it? Y f of x prime. So now let's put in f of pi over 6. So if we do that, now we're going to get, so what is cos of pi over 6?
Oh, where's my unit circle?
Let's put it all in. I'll go cos pi over 6 times cos 2 pi over 6 plus, so I'm going to run the room, sine pi over 6 times cos, sorry, no, 2 sine 2 pi over 6 all over cos squared of 2 pi over 6.
Alright, cos pi over 6 is root 3 over 2.
Yeah, so I'm going to put these in. You can use your unit circle. You probably should, because I forget these a lot of times too. So what this is, it ends up being root 3 over 2 times
2 root 3 over 2.
pi over 3. Cos pi over 3 is 1/2.
Oh.
Right? Because this would simplify to pi over 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, plus you'd have 2 times 1/2 times root 3 over 2 all over. It would end up being like a half times a half, right? Cos squared is of pi over 6 is, or 2 pi over 6 is a half. So 2 of those though, they're squared.
There's like tons and stuff. How do you get rid of all this crap?
Okay, so the way we can kind of make sense of this, if we looked at, you know, our bottoms, we multiply our two bottoms together there, and these ones here, you've really got root 3 over 4, that's just these two multiplied together, right? Plus 2 root 3 over 4. And then that is all over 1 over 4. So now, what can I do with my 4s?
You know that garbage can over there?
Yeah?
Put them there.
Put them in there? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to cancel. Is that what you meant by that?
Mm-hmm.
So I can cancel my 4s, right? Because I've got, they're both in the denominator. So we got 4 over 4 is what that would be, right? So in the end, we've just got,
Root 3 plus 2 root 3.
oh, yeah, root 3 plus 2 root 3. So this is equal to 3 root 3. So that's our slope.
Now we know.
Now we know. That's a slope, and it wants the tangent line. We're not done. Okay, the original equation was
I don't have more paper.
y, so now that's a slope, we gotta figure out, so let's back up. So we know what x is. X is equal to pi over 6. We know what our slope is.
Oh, we have to do that x1 minus x.
It's
or
that.
y minus x.
We don't know what y is yet. We gotta figure out when x is equal to pi over 6, what's y? So we gotta figure out what that point is so we can put it
So
into our
just
formula.
throw that back in the original.
Yeah, so throw it back in the original. So we start with y is equal to sine x over cos 2x with, you know, x equaling to pi over 6, right?
Mhm.
So if we put that in there, we end up with, what do we end up with?
Root 3 over 2 over half. So root 3.
You end up with a half over a half.
I think sine. Oh, sine. Yeah.
Yeah. So half over a half. So that's equal to 1. So y is equal to 1 at that point. Now that we know these three things, we can put those into our slope formula. So our slope formula, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We know the slope, 3 root 3. We know one of our y's was 1. We know the x was pi over 6. And we just really need to rearrange that into being into a formula now. So if we do that, we can bring the bottom term probably up to this side. So we'd have 3 root 3 times x minus pi over 6 is equal to y minus 1.
Add 1.
If we factor that in, we've got 3 root 3 x minus
3 root 3 pi over 6.
pi over, what's it end up being?
It'll just be 3 root.
Yeah, ends up being root 3 over 2.
3 pi over 2.
Yeah, root 3 pi over 2, yeah. Is equal to y minus 1. So last step, depends how you want to set it up. You probably just bring this over, so this could just end up being y is equal to y is equal to 3 root 3 x minus, or plus, or yeah. And I just ended up putting that as a decimal because I didn't want to deal with fraction. ends up being negative or minus 1.7. There's the equation of our line. Okay, so that's that video.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. See
You'll
you
probably
guys.
never watch it more than once.